what do you say we pivot from the SEC to Lincoln, Nebraska?
All right.
Talk to our friend from Husker Online, Sean Callahan. Sean, a lot going on, man. How's your Portal Monday going? What's going on with Nebraska?
Well, considering a year ago, the last 2 years, it's been wild for Nebraska. They've had just one scholarship entry here on opening day, a tight end, Jake Applegate, who's a reserve guy that played, I think, 26 snaps this year. So nothing significant. But, I mean, you go back to what's happened the last couple of years. I mean, think about a year ago at this time, Matt Rhule brought in 47 high school players and portal players for official visits in December and January alone. So it was bound to be a little bit slower this year because Nebraska just doesn't have the numbers right now to do much more than what they have.
So, Sean, I think the biggest question is quarterback. Obviously, they brought in Jeff Sims. Chubba Purdy was a transfer from Florida State. It didn't look like they had the answer at quarterback last year. We heard Matt Rhule talking about what the going rate is for a good quarterback. Are they going to be a shopper in that market?
Well, we know this, like they visited Will Howard in Manhattan, Kansas on Saturday, as did Lincoln Riley. And on Friday, Wisconsin, by the way, they're definitely in the market for a quarterback, as they were there as well. And Miami was there. So Nebraska has at least made a public courtship already of Will Howard. And, you know, I do think they're going to go after somebody. They have the ability to pay for a quarterback with their collective. It's a matter of really what Rhule's vision is for that room and that position. Does he think Chubba Purdy's got a chance to be the guy? Heinrich Harburg's still going to return, and most assume that Jeff Sims probably will move on, but it's not a guarantee at this point. But yeah, they went in all in a year ago with Jeff Sims. I mean, that was their pick. Collins, the coach of Georgia Tech, is a former Matt Rhule, Marcus Satterfield colleague, and they thought they had a good read on Jeff Sims, and it obviously kind of turned the entire year one around for Matt Rhule. Nebraska went 5-7. They were a team that easily could have won 7 or 8 games, as you guys know, and the quarterback play leading the nation with 31 turnovers as an offense was just painful to watch at times.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the quarterback position, anytime you have a number like that in the turnover department, obviously the quarterback's going to probably have his fair share and his responsibility in that. Is there other positions of need, though, that you're looking at specifically on the offensive side of the ball for Nebraska?
Yeah, I see 3 things they're looking at. Obviously, they're looking at a quarterback. I think a wide receiver makes sense, a veteran, proven guy. And then on defense, there is a hole at linebacker. But right now, they've taken 10 to 15 portal guys each of the last 2 years on scholarship. I see the number being closer to 3-ish in that range this year, mainly because of the numbers right now. Today, right now, without knowing some more attrition that's going to play out, Nebraska is already sitting at around 100 players on scholarship when you count the high school kids that they have already the 26 kids that will join the program and the players that will leave. It was an extremely small senior class, which I think that's the case for a lot of teams around college football. It's very, very difficult now with the transfer portal for guys to even make it to their senior year on a team when you factor in that COVID year. But the number situation for Nebraska is real. Matt Rhule's vision to this program is taking a lot of high school guys and building it brick by brick, and having guys kind of earn NIL and play into NIL versus maybe overpaying for an unproven high school guy that you're going to have to go all in for, but he may not even start. And it was never more evident this year in the Big Ten Conference. We saw very few true freshmen or even redshirt freshmen this year in this league make an impact. The finalist or the winner for the freshman of the year was a safety for Purdue that really wasn't a high profile recruit at all. So it tells you it's really difficult for young guys to play in the Big Ten right now, especially when you got kids coming like Casey Thompson's coming back for his 7th year of college football at Florida Atlantic. And, like Luke Fickell said, he goes, what are we even playing anymore? Is this college football? Because it is extremely hard for young freshmen to come in and play. And I think the priority is retention of your own roster and then finding those 2 or 3 portal pieces to help bring you over the top.
Well, if you're Matt Rhule, do you adjust the way you want to do things based on what you're seeing in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I think this league humbles a lot of good coaches. I mean, Scott Frost, for all accounts, was a good coach, and he realized what he wanted to do and what he did before wouldn't work in this league. I mean, look how good Michigan is, and they barely went for 200 yards on Iowa. I mean, the style of game in this league, at least right now in this current state, is a lot different, especially when you take Scott Frost, Paul Christ and his offensive mind out of the league, and Jeff Brom. I mean, those three guys are probably the three best offensive minds in the Big Ten. They're gone, and you saw what it did for defenses in this league last year. They were better than ever. The stats did not lie. I mean, Nebraska's defense was ranked 14th in the country, but they were still probably middle of the pack in the Big Ten. I mean, there was just that many good defenses, that many poor offenses, where you better be able to situationally run the ball in this league, and you better be able to situationally pick up 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, and play field position, because points and possessions are at a premium right now in the Big Ten.
And the portal and NIL kind of seem to go hand in hand when it comes to building a roster. And Matt Rhule made his, thoughts known, or his insight known rather, on what a quarterback is going right now for in the transfer portal. Where is Nebraska situated when it comes to their resources in the NIL department?
Well, I mean, they have a pretty strong collective. It's funded by the Pede family, who is, by all intents and purposes, the largest boosters of the program. But it was a spinoff of their first collective, ABM. It's called 1890. And they have the ability to do whatever Matt Rhule wants to do. It's a matter of they follow the vision of what Matt Rhule wants. I don't believe Matt Rhule thinks it's right to go give a high school kid $800,000. I don't. I think he made a comment this week when he was in the NFL. Bill Polian said, you never want to have a free agent come into your locker room and make more money than your entire locker room. And that was kind of his way of saying, like, we're not just going to pay somebody that's unproven big dollars more than, say, a Ty Robinson or a Nash Hutmacher because of their recruiting market at that moment in time. But I do obviously think there is a place for it. And quarterback is where it starts. I think he said what he said this week to let people know this is what we're probably going to have to spend to get a quarterback that would check all the boxes for what we want. But he's also kind of made it known he'd like a quarterback that could be here for 2 years or more. Will Howard is only a 1-year guy. Sam Levitt from Michigan State, I think that's a sleeper name to watch right now too. He was a 4-star guy that looked really, really good, played 4 games for the Spartans this year with the coaching transition. It went in the portal officially today. I mean, there's some names like that too. So will they try to go for that Will Howard, the totally proven route, or will they try to get a guy like a Sam Levitt style that would come in and really have to compete against Chubba Purdy and Heinrich Harburg and win the job in the spring?
Do you think, Sean, that he said that to potentially smoke out anybody who might be on the fence about entering the portal? Like, hey, we may be in the market.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, look at Kyle McCord going in today. I mean, and Dylan Rhule. I mean, it's wild. I mean, you can find a good quarterback in the portal, and there's going to be a lot of guys like McCord and, like Gabriel that continue to enter the portal. I think somebody joked, he goes, there's going to be 80 quarterbacks in this portal that are good quarterbacks. And I don't think that's that far off. I mean, that is going to be probably the deepest position we've seen. And it's only been open for a few hours, and look how many quality names and options you have. You got to pick right. I mean, that was what the problem was. I mean, last year, Nebraska went all in on Jeff Sims. They brought in the Big Ten Media Days. He earned the prestigious single-digit jersey that Matt Rhule and the players vote on to the leaders of the team. He had billboards for John Deere tractors, and he had an Amigos combo meal named after him at a Mexican fast food chain called the Jeff Sims Combo. It came with a soft shell taco and a crisp meat burrito.
And a fumble. Oh, wait, sorry.
Oh,
yeah, it was the Jeff Sims Combo that, it came with a few turtle, but it was a colossal miss that really kind of changed the trajectory of this season for Nebraska, where they were gifted one of their more favorable schedules in years. And next year, if you guys look at the schedule, it's not that bad either. I mean, they got a real opportunity to at least get to a bowl game next year. They should have been to a bowl game this year. And I think that's the most frustrating thing, that they blew it at Michigan State. They mismanaged the end of Maryland, and they arguably mismanaged the end of the Wisconsin game by allowing it to go to overtime instead of having maybe a couple extra plays to win that game. And they couldn't find one win in those 3 opportunities. And the Minnesota game, obviously, to start the year was a similar game. They lost 3 games this year, 13-10, all by last-second field goals.
Yeah, there's it feels like Nebraska from a roster perspective is right there. And maybe sometimes it is that just one or two portal guys that put you over the top of some key moments. But regardless, we'll watch what Nebraska and Matt Rhule do in the portal. Sean, appreciate all your time. Enjoy the rest of your Portal Monday.
Hey, guys, have fun today. Great job. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's